Oh boy! It's time to rant and rave! I've made it very clear over the coming weeks leading to this movie, Sun Is Also a Star, that I wasn't looking forward to it. I honestly thought it looked pretty bad, but as we got closer to it, I was kind of getting excited about it because there was 3 movies coming out. John Wick Chapter 3, which we already saw and reviewed and loved, A Dog's Journey, and The Sun Is Also a Star. And I'd be damned if I was going to sit through A Dog's Journey. So, of the other 2, I figured this would be the more valid option to go see, because it was something where I could find ways to enjoy myself by hating the movie. And what did I think coming out? I wish I could say it was as bad as I thought it was, but I will be flat out honest. This just usurped Ugly Dolls as the worst movie of the year for me. I'm not joking on that at all. At all. Now, before I go into it, you may be asking, how is this worse than Ugly Dolls? I'll tell you how this is worse than Ugly Dolls, because I was not once in Ugly Dolls was I sitting there going, oh my god, or actually yelling at the screen, or I actually flicked off the screen at one point, and I was like yelling at it because there was no one else in that theater. There was at least about maybe a total of 10 other people, maybe, in the theater with Ugly Dolls with me. There was no one else in the screen except for one guy. He showed up briefly at the end and then popped in and out near the end. So, because I wasn't vehemently angry at Ugly Dolls. I just didn't think it was a good movie. In fact, I thought it was a pretty subpar movie. Close enough to bad to be called bad, but ultimately not the worst thing in the world. Still the worst thing I'd seen at that point. But no, this usurped it. Now, why? Let me get into this. Story is about Natasha Kingston, who is a Jamaican immigrant. None of her family were born in the U.S., and she's got to be deported. She's trying to stop the deportation. You then have Daniel Wangbang Bai. I can't Korean names. Basically, Daniel Bai, who is a Korean immigrant as well. His parents were immigrants. He's, I believe, an American citizen though. And, he ends up meeting her, actually saving her life, which Mark has pointed out. Why is it always the girl who's absent-minded and needs saving? Why can't the guy be that sometimes? I know it's happened a few times, but it's more the woman than the guy. And they have this interaction, and he goes out to prove that he can make her fall in love with him, and that love is real and all this stuff. So, where to begin? Well, let me actually first start off in the movie's benefit by talking about the positives, because it's actually not devoid of a few good things. Both our main actor and actress are really good, actually. Now, granted, particularly Natasha, the acting-wise are really good, and when the chemistry, even though when we get into the negatives, I'll talk about why the chemistry just doesn't make sense, or not make sense, but doesn't work. They are quite charming together. They're actually quite nice together. I would say, if in a different movie, a different context, these two would work as a couple in my mind. They're both likable. They both got some personality and charm. They're both attractive looking people, so that helps them. He's not without some charisma, although half the time he looks at her like a freaking serial killer and some of his dialogue is stalkerish. So it has that going for it. It's also got some decent shots of New York and sights within New York. So there's that as well. Therein lies my positives, that their chemistry, while forced, literally, by the movie, is forced. It's still good chemistry. They work well off each other, and the scenes are generally well acted. And all the actors do a good job, including John Leguizamo, who plays a lawyer doctor. I actually don't know what his position. He was apparently an immigration consultant, some kind, a lawyer, a pro bono lawyer, but he's also was interviewing him for a medical degree, a doctorate. They bring it up that he's the same guy. It's fate, destiny. So I'm going to use that as the segue into All right, let's get into this. So right off the bat, I knew something was wrong when we get this whole narrative from Natasha talking about. Carl Sagan once said that humans are like butterflies, flap their wings. They only last a day, but think it's some line like that. I can't remember the exact quote. And I'm like, oh, this is fine, but I get this is going to be part of the character. And then they do it again, and when they do it again, it is, it's because at the point where we get to it again, where she does that, we've already come to know the character, and the character, while well acted and good chemistry with the other character, Daniel, is up her ass. Everyone, this entire movie is up its ass. So when they do that bit again, it's just irritating as fuck. They also talk about their history with their family in, like, not flashbacks, but montage flashbacks, kind of. And I thought that was odd because because this is adapted from a book. I have no idea how that would have translated from the book. Were they just talking about it in the book as like a chapter or something, or within a chapter, and they decided to just narrate it visually on screen? I don't know. But we get to her, and she's clearly got but mind for science, facts, things along those lines. I'm okay. She likes astrology. That's fine. Then, so we then cut over to him, and he's writing down the word Deus Ex Machina, and I'm like, okay, why is he writing that? We never, by the way, learn why he just randomly wrote Deus Ex Machina down. And at one point, he's with his buddy, and it's on her shirt, so I'm like, Deus Ex Machina, he's gonna think this is Destiny or something like that. Sure enough, he does. But he says that, Deus Ex Machina, so I can't remember the actual term, but God in the machines, like, seize the day. It's like, that's not what Deus Ex Machina means. Deus Ex Machina is generally used as a term for the, basically, like a divine intervention and prevention of something, or setting the course right. When someone just pulls a random power, or gets the random item in the movie that saves the day, that no one ever, or that character just comes along, who just kicks ass and saves the day for the movie. That's the Deus Ex Machina of the movie. That's the thing that solved everything. Just came out of nowhere. That's more or less what a Deus Ex Machina kind of is. I don't really think they're not really using the term correctly in the movie, but whatever, fine. So he saves her, and here's the thing: up until the point where he saves her and they start talking, I'm not having a big issue with the film. It's not great, but I'm like, they're actually kind of likable for what they are. But all right, we'll go with this. Then they start interacting, and oh my god, I wanted to shut Natasha's character up and say, she's one of those people who honestly just goes, yeah, if you can't prove it scientifically, it doesn't exist, and just goes over, no, love does not exist. Love is just hormones. Like, I'm sorry, if you can't prove it scientifically, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That just means you haven't found a way to prove it yet scientifically. And that's just going by your logic. Emotions exist. We know this. You're angry. It's like that. Those are all hormones, but it's something you feel. It's an emotion. Anger, sorrow, happiness. You can make arguments they're chemical reactions, but you still feel an emotion connected with those chemical reactions. Therefore, love is technically a chemical reaction you can scientifically prove. Ergo, your entire argument in that in that like 3-sentence, 30 seconds on screen is completely debunked. But let's continue on with this, shall we? He then goes into the main point of the film where, I bet you give me an hour, I can convince you that I can or give me a day, I can convince you to fall in love. I don't have it. How about an hour? You got an hour? And he's like, fine, an hour. Now, granted, he doesn't do it within the span of an hour. He does it overall in the span of a day. Because there's things that get in the way, blah, 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 blah. He's got this thing where it's like, I'm going to ask you seven, they did a study, they asked 37 questions, but I'm just going to randomly pick them. And you get that scene where it's a cappuccino shop, where it's like, what are your ingredients for falling in love? And, I think he said 5 key ingredients. She listed 2, and immediately I'm like, okay, where's your other 3? She asked for 5. And then he doesn't, and then there's the X Factor. What's the X part? Doesn't matter. Don't worry, we got it. I'm like, okay. He projects a lot of confidence, which is good for any guy or girl, really. And immediately I'm like, okay, she's immediately falling for this. She's like, you are really just a sheep, aren't you? It's like, you already were starting to fall for him right then and there. You were just getting, oh man. And it's at one point she nearly kisses him, like not more than probably an hour after they met. So as you can tell, it's already starting to work on her. And then but then here's the problem. He's the other extreme because he keeps going on about fate and destiny. Like these are legitimate things that kind of define us in some level, shape, or form. There is no magic, no destiny. Like, this is destiny, this is fate. And no, there is coincidences in life. Now, I can't speak scientifically. Here's the thing. Fate is by definition something you can't scientifically define. At least not right now. Maybe someday they'll scientifically define fate. I doubt it, but they will. But fate and destiny are not something you can scientifically quantify. So, and that's the one point of her argument I do see. Is like, you can't really say that, but fate and destiny are also predicated on belief. And it's clear that she's not really that kind of person, and he kind of is. So it's a weird kind of worlds collide in many ways. And as we go on forward through the story, it's just like, oh my god, you really just didn't buy in hook, line, and sinker to this. Both of you did. You're both sheep because you bought into the... Here's the thing. He said he could make her fall in love with her within the day. Was it his goal to fall in love with her too? I'm guessing because he saw the jacket and saw Deus Ex Machina written on it, so you're my destiny kind of stuff. I guess that was his goal, to fall in love. You can't just say, look at someone and say, I'm going to fall in love with you now. You can't do that. That's creepy mentality. That's fucking obsessive stalker mentality right there. And it comes off like that a couple times. Like, seriously, it's, it comes off like very uncomfortable at points. And that's the part where I'm like, I really started to dislike this movie. Is because you go back and forth from them actually being kind of good, nice, good back and forth, good repertoire between them. Like, the chemistry's actually not bad between them. But then you get these scenes where they keep going off about fate, destiny, and they keep getting reminded that, no, this entire premise is based off the idea that you were going to manipulate her into loving you. And you did, and you fell into your own manipulation. When he said, this is real and you know it, I still after seeing the movie up until that point, was like, no! Even if you are feeling this, it's all manufactured by your own hand! Oh my god! This is not how life works. This is so, you can tell this was just a book adapted into a movie. This isn't something that happens in real life. Once in a blue moon. Obviously, this stuff might happen once in a rare occasion. But let's be honest. Realistically, this kind of scenario does not happen. And look, I'm fine with suspension disbelief. I'm fine with that. But there's a limit. And when you're talking about romantic, not rom-coms, mind you, but romances, that's where the suspension of disbelief just kicks in. I couldn't deal with it at that point. And there's a scene in the karaoke bar, well, it's a Korean karaoke bar, so you get the room and stuff like that, where she's fantasizing, she's fantasizing about a future they could have together. And it's clear that she's fallen from it at this point. And then she basically just tackles them and they start, like, going at it on the cup. But then she has to leave. Like, I can't let all these dreams mess with me. Like, if it wouldn't have been considered a hate crime, I would have backslapped you. No. I wouldn't really have slapped her, but I would have given her a metaphorical verbal slapping against the face. Like, what is wrong with it? You literally have a dream. You have a dream to be an astronomer, which he ends up going to college for anyway. The astrologist or astronomer. Basically, you have your dreams. You just kind of ignore them because you try to live in this scientific reality you set for yourself. Like, you are all just hypocrites. Humongous hypocrites. Oh my God, it's so irritating. And I think what makes this movie as bad as it is for me, honestly, is that there were parts where I was not necessarily enjoying, but was okay with it. I'm like, all right, this is fine. I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it. So that, I think, actually makes the movie worse for me, because I could see the potential with at least these actors in a different movie, with even if it's a romantic, like, book adaptation or something like that, a romantic comedy or something like that. I could see the potential with these two actors in these roles. I could. That was, I think, the biggest thing. That was, I think, one of the things that was pissing me off the most, is I could see the potential there. They had good chemistry. They were generally good in the roles. Just the roles themselves were not the most well-written characters ever. And, oh man, and then you get the whole fact that he lives in a very stereotyped, Asian household, and I say Asian because I know it's like Chinese, Japanese. Their culture is like a lot, where the parents want something for him. They do, and look. I was just kind of flabbergasted. Like, people actually do this. They should have cut of him because they want to be a doctor and go for an interview. Show cut of them with little baby Daniel, and they show like these items, and there's like, it basically choose the item. And that's basically, you were in diapers and couldn't say an actual word. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've never been so thankful to be from the American. Don't get me wrong. It's not just Asian family. American households, Indian households, African households, Australian households. There are households all over the world, all cultures that do this. But let's be fair, it is very heavily but predominant in the Asian cultures. Asian cultures have a tendency to do that a lot. From what I understand, and again, not every household, not every Asian family does that. Clearly not. But I do know it's a big thing in that culture. And I'm like, wow. There's something wrong here that I can, and again, they even kind of go into why my thinking of that would be, because Americans' names, our last name comes first, the family name comes last, which means they think of the individual, whereas in Korea, or in Asia, the family name comes first, because they think of the family. It's like, and I hear his father talking about, for your family, for our honor. It's like, do you not care about me? Do you not care about what I want? No, you just care about the family. You care about you. See, that's the problem for me, is that in that kind of mindset and that kind of culture, is like, no, you don't care about the family. I'm sorry. And I'm going to be honest here, and this pisses me off. This is one of those things I hate about people who try to force things, whether it be religious beliefs, career paths, ideology, anything like that, onto people. And I'm not trying to force my opinion on you. I'm just giving you my opinion in a bit of an aggressive way. Is that you try to force, let's go with the career path. It's like, I want something better for you. So you're going to force this down his throat because for the family, how does this benefit the family? Why? Because your son who carries your name is a doctor. So you can brag about the fact that he's a doctor. So you get bragging rights now? Is that right? Is that right? That's not honor. That's ego. I'm sorry. There's a difference between the family honor and then your own personal. And let's be honest. That maybe it's not your own personal ego, but it's the family ego. Let's not mince words on this crap. You're all full of shit, in my opinion. Now, any of my Asian viewers or any household that has dealt with this kind of thing before, want to get up my ass about that? Come at me, bro. Come at me, girl. I will take your abuse or I'll take your yelling, and I will just say, look, you're entitled to your opinion. I think it's wrong, but you're entitled to it. So yeah, that just is, look, I get it's a certain way of thinking. I get that's the way many households, many generations have lived, but I do not personally agree with it. Just put in my 2 cents there. And then it ends with it ends with them leaving, and there's a 5-year gap. The movie actually opens up near the end, which a lot of these movies tend to do. Not even these movies. A lot of movies these days are kind of doing. And they end up meeting and all that again after all that time, and yeah. So again, I've started ranking movies. Mark brought that up. I was like, yeah, I don't remember you ranking a movie in a while. It's like, that's because I don't do it anymore. Yeah, if I were, it'd probably be like a 2 or something like that, just above complete crap. But I'm not really ranking it. All I can say is how the movie made me feel, and I will say I was getting emotional, mental, and sometimes physical whiplash, because I had to also turn my head a few times, because they were doing these weird shots where they were shooting the scene and then they were tilting the camera for no reason. They were tilting the camera. Like, what's the point of this? I'm like, what? But look, I figured something would usurp Ugly Dolls for me, because Ugly Dolls was bad, but it wasn't like I wasn't angry with it. This movie got me angry, like I thought it honestly would, and that's kind of why I want to see it, because I could be angry and enjoy ranting about it afterwards more so than I would with The Dog's Purpose, because Dog's Purpose is dealing with a dog dying repeatedly. I don't need this as a dog owner all my life. I don't need to sit through that shit. Anyway, I digress. So Downton Abbey, we got that trailer. I never watched the show. Good for any of the fans who want Downton Abbey. Godzilla, coming up in 2 weeks. Look, there's not much else I can say except Gojira. Gotta love Godzilla. Then we got, wow, I wrote that. This is a new trailer. Blinded by the Light. It's a movie set to the songs of Bruce Springsteen about a Pakistani kid, and I want to say it's England or London, one of them, who, he finds the music of Bruce Springsteen, and it legitimately speaks to him. But his family is very, strict Pakistani, trying to make a better life for him and themselves and wanting him to do so, kind of a little bit mirroring what we got in this film. And they're, not agreeing with the music. He's like, you should listen to your own music before you listen to this guy and all that stuff. So, I'm actually really interested in it now. I'm really interested in it now. So yeah, that's something I'll probably be at. Spider-Man Far From Home, the first trailer, not the newest trailer. Toy Story 4, I'll admit, I didn't actually see, I've seen enough of Toy Story 3, but I actually haven't seen all of Toy Story 3. Dark Phoenix, here's hoping it's at least better than the next 3. Okay, let me put it another way. Here's hoping it's at least better than X-Men Origins Wolverine. Because that's the bar none worst of the X-Men movies. And I own it. It's a guilty pleasure film. I enjoy watching it and watching the things I like and disliking the things I hate. But it's the worst of all of them. And then Yesterday, which is about the guy who ends up getting knocked out and waking up during a power surge over the planet, and the Beatles never existed, so he uses their songs. Again, a movie I'm actually looking forward to. Yesterday, I thought my troubles only far away, but I believe in yesterday. So I digress. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. The Who Would Win for yesterday will be up today. I was just exhausted yesterday. I had to pass out on the couch for a little bit. But yeah. I'm trying to think. So we'll have a what if and box office tomorrow. Might do another video either today or tomorrow also. Not certain yet. And then this is the week of what if coming. So for those of you asking me to do the Jiraiya adapting Naruto videos a bit more often, you'll get at least 2 of them, maybe 3 throughout the week. So keep your eyes out on that. Until then, though, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.